Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eagles Latest on Fan Arch. I am your host, as always, Blake McQueary. And as always, we have things to talk about all Philadelphia Eagles again. I'm just going to get right into it because we have some news actually coming out of Philadelphia, some might say. Mike Hilton. Eagles are working out cornerback Mike Hilton. That was reported by Jordan Schultz. Hilton, he is a 9-year veteran cornerback. The bulk of Hilton's career came in Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. That is where he played most of his snaps, most of his, I should say, valuable snaps. He was an undrafted guy who was signed, bounced around practice squad, things like that. And then kind of came a seasoned guy in Pittsburgh and then Cincinnati. He is a highly respected veteran. He has 13 career interceptions. Now, Mike Hilton, he is a primarily slot cornerback. He primarily lurks in the slot as a corner. He's played 4,714 snaps in the slot. Only 139 of his career snaps have came on the outside. So, if the Eagles were to sign him, obviously they have to work him out first and then decide if they want to sign him. If they were to sign him, my guess is he would be a backup. Or they will finally decide to move Cooper DeJean to the outside. Now, obviously, we have to figure out if they are going to sign him or not. It's just a workout. They just want to see where he is at, things like that. Obviously, workouts can come with signings. We don't know what's going to happen, but we should know. I'm recording this on a Monday, so we should know by the time this episode comes out if he will be there or if he will not be there. But if he is there, that is my guess. He will be a backup, or they will finally let DeJean be on the outside. Do I love it? Honestly, not really. I don't see the value in signing a slot corner unless they are super, super confident in DeJean moving to the outside. Or, well, it's not even an or. It's, are they super confident in DeJean being on the outside if Ja'Cory Bennett does not work out? I think that is their next step after Adoree Jackson is Ja'Cory Bennett. I think Bennett still is getting used to the playbook, things like that. But that is where I'm at with them working Hilton out. I just feel that there are better options out there. I mean, I said it last episode. I gave a few options. Asante Samuel Jr. is a guy that they can go and sign. Stephon Gilmore is a guy that they can go and sign. Gilmore a little bit older. I like the Asante Samuel Jr. way more than Stephon Gilmore idea. Gilmore is a 35-year-old. He's a veteran. When you talk football age, he's pretty old. I think those are two guys that you can add for cheap. I think Asante Samuel Jr. has way more upside. He's a way younger guy with way more, I should say, potential if you're going to go and get a free agent signing. And you don't, and here's the thing with that. You also don't have to give anything away with signing a free agent. I think that is also why they're looking at Hilton. I think a trade may be less unlikely now. I think Howie is exploring options where he doesn't have to give much away for guys. You don't really want to have to spend picks, things like that, to go and get pieces who may not even fully work out. Like, we don't even know if things are going to work out like that. So that's where I'm at with it. I just don't see the value in signing a slot corner. Obviously, though, if they want to move DeJean to the outside, we know what DeJean is capable of. We know, who Cooper DeJean is as a football player. He is an absolute dog. He is a valuable piece of this defense, and that's where it is. I think this is really, honestly, an attempt to cover up Howie Roseman's and the coaching staff's mistake. They made a major mistake this offseason, and that was the amount of confidence and the amount of value and trust they put in Kelee Ringo after last season. That was supposed to be the guy. There was not supposed to be a cornerback battle that lasted all offseason. There was not supposed to be questions about who cornerback number 2 is going to be week 2 in the year. That was not supposed to happen. Kelee Ringo was supposed to be the guy. Everyone in that facility, everyone in that building thought Kelee Ringo was the guy, and he just flat out wasn't. It didn't turn out well. They also could have and should have just re-signed Isaiah Rodgers to avoid this mess. As Isaiah Rodgers, a guy who was super valuable to this defense last year, super valuable on special teams. He is a corner who is very good. And the Eagles would not have any issue right now if they did re-sign Isaiah Rodgers. He is now in Minnesota, obviously. But that's what it seems like right here. It's just an attempt to cover up the mistakes. Kelee Ringo didn't work out. Put major stock into him, and it didn't work out. It does prove something, though. Howie, like I have been saying, will not stand for this issue to be something that bothers them this whole season. He's not going to go for that. I said it last episode. I said it a few episodes before that. The quote of him after they're finalizing their 53-man roster, he's going to do whatever it takes, whenever it takes, to go and get guys where he feels like it's going to improve their team. Even if it's not Hilton, they will be going and getting somebody. Somebody will be signed. I think it's going to be a corner. A lot of fans are speculating, should they go get a corner? Should they go get a safety? Should they maybe go get a fullback now that Van Sumeren's out? I don't think a fullback is really – I don't even think a fullback is on top 3 needs right now, if we're going to be for real. I don't. I think cornerback is a major issue. And we've seen that in the Dallas game. And that is what they are doing now. Moving on to the passing game. Obviously, another thing that was super inefficient. Let me slow down. It wasn't even inefficient. Like, Jalen Hurts was not inefficient. Jalen Hurts played a doggone good game. He absolutely did. Absolutely did. We talked about that last episode. But getting your guys involved, that's super key. That is super important, especially when you have guys like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. One thing that needs to be going for the Eagles, and I think will absolutely be fixed for the Chiefs game, is the passing game. Obviously, everybody knows A.J. Brown was targeted once, finished with 1 catch for 8 yards. Devontae Smith, he finished with 3 catches for 18 yards. I say this. Remember in 2022, Devontae Smith in the season opener did not record a catch. He was targeted 4 times. What happened the week after that? Smith finished with 8 catches for a career-high 169 yards. Now, this is what Sirianni had to say on Brown's game against the Cowboys. Quote, "When we talk about roles, I tell those guys there's going to be games like this is going to happen, but to be what we want to be. AJ's obviously going to have to be involved more in the offense, but some games go this way." He added, "I get that will be a story and everything like that, but there are games that go this way." I mean, he's absolutely right. You're not going to get perfection every single week. 10 times out of 10, you're not getting perfection. There's 17 games in the season. You're not getting perfection every single game. You're not getting perfection every single quarter. This is the NFL. These are professional football players. That's not happening. But there comes a time, though, you have to get your guys involved. And this is a Super Bowl rematch. This is a game that they absolutely want to win. You got to get your guys involved. I don't think it will happen for a second straight week where we see A.J. Brown getting targeted 1 time and it is with a minute left in the 4th quarter. That's not going to happen, especially against the Chiefs. Philadelphia is going to be aggressive. They're absolutely going to be aggressive. I think Kevin Patullo knows this game. He knows that he is going to have to be aggressive on offense. Brown has not been targeted in the first quarter of the Eagles' past 2 games. Yes, the Super Bowl. He was not targeted in the first quarter of the Super Bowl. Turned out perfectly fine in that game. Expect him to be targeted on the first drive. Absolutely. A.J. Brown is going to have a catch on the first drive. I have no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Like, and this is the thing. And I talked about it. I talked about it very briefly after in my Cowboys post game episode. It doesn't have to be deep shots. It really doesn't. You don't have to air the ball out to AJ Brown. Obviously, that's what he's best at is one-on-one situations, deep game, obviously. But it doesn't have to be deep shots. Get the guy some screen passes, some RPO slant routes, one-on-one out routes. What we've seen his only catch against the Cowboys, a one-on-one out route. You do not have to air the ball out to A.J. Brown 30, 40, 50 yards down the field every single time. That doesn't have to happen. I think if you get him involved in screen passes, you get him involved in RPO slant routes, do that a few times the first couple of drives, their defense is going to adjust. They're going to shift because they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, let's slow down here. They're not trying to, take the top off and throw a deep shot to A.J. Brown every single time. They're trying to get him involved. Screen passes, RPO slant routes. Knowing what we know happened against the Cowboys. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be in a too high shell all game. They certainly don't want to. They certainly don't want to be after the game Hurts had. You shouldn't. And that is where this Eagles offense is so dangerous, because you have a game. You look at that game, that first game, the Cowboys, a too high shell. It's not great for trying to get your guys involved for the pass game. Hurts absolutely dismantled it. Hurts made every play he needed to with his legs. The Chiefs want to go and run a two-man high shell. Okay, well, Hurts is going to make you pay for it. If you don't want Hurts to make you pay for it, and if you want to make him throw the ball, then his guys are going to get involved. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. It's that simple. That's just what it is. So I wouldn't panic on this passing game. I wouldn't panic on A.J. Brown getting involved. Even Devontae Smith. Like, everyone wants to talk about A.J. Brown didn't get involved. Devontae Smith had 3 catches for 18 yards. He didn't get involved either. It's just what the defense gave them. It's what the Cowboys were running on Thursday night that affected that. So don't expect that to happen against the Chiefs. I expect A.J. Brown to receive a ton of targets. I expect him to have way more catches than he did against Dallas. And I expect the passing game to be a lot more effective in week 2. Moving on to Ji'Ayir Campbell. I need to give my flowers to Ji'Ayir Campbell because, quite frankly, I feel that I didn't give enough credit on my Cowboys game recap episode. I talked a lot about Zach Bond. I talked a little bit about Ji'Ayir Campbell. I did shout him out. He was in my pros segment, I believe. So I did, shout him out, things like that. I just didn't give him enough flowers. I didn't get down to the nitty-gritty of Ji'Ayir Campbell's effectiveness, his impact on the game. Besides Bond, Campbell was the Eagles' best defender against the Cowboys. Campbell finished as the highest-graded defender on Thursday Night Football with a PFF grade of 88.3. That is absolutely outstanding for a rookie. Absolutely outstanding for a rookie debut, especially against an in-division rival, the Dallas Cowboys, on Thursday Night Football. Tremendous. Campbell against the Cowboys, his stats, you want to say, 56 total snaps, 3 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 targets, 1 reception allowed. That reception was actually for -3 yards, 1 pass deflection, and a 56.3 passer rating allowed. Do I need to read those again, or did you guys listen to that? Do I need to read them again? Because that was phenomenal. The Eagles got themselves a star, an absolute star, and he's a fan favorite. Everyone's loving him. Everyone's loving him, as they should. Now, a lot of people are talking. I said it a few weeks ago that this might be the best linebacker duo in the NFL. I actually confirmed it on my post-game episode against the Cowboys that this is indeed the best linebacker duo in the NFL. Now, we also know Nakobe Dean. He comes back week 5. Where does that leave things? Well, Vic Fangio, he is going to have an absolute ball. Fangio is a mastermind when it comes to defense. He is. He will have so much to work with when Nakobe Dean comes back. Because Bond and Campbell are so good, do you move Campbell? That I don't know. That will be up to Fangio. I think you'll see those three guys in a three-man coverage a lot. I also think you'll see Campbell moved to edge. I think that can be a very nasty combination of that is Fangio is going to be licking his chops when the Kobe Dean comes back. Why do I think Campbell will be moved to edge? His ability to pressure the quarterback is absolutely outstanding. We've seen that. One thing sticks out to me, that preseason game against the Browns. Campbell got in there and literally right away got pressure on the quarterback. Also, when you have an edge that has the coverage ability like Campbell does, it is dangerous. He can be used as a spy a lot, or he can be used as a decoy on the edge and drop back into coverage. I think this defense is going to be miles ahead of what they are right now once Nakobe Dean comes back, and it is because of how versatile Ji'Ayir Campbell is. Howie Roseman. The mastermind behind all of this. Vic Fangio, the mastermind behind the schemes. Campbell is going to be... I said it. I compared Campbell to Micah Parsons. I think that is what he can be. I think if you move Campbell to edge, I think he can be a Micah Parsons 2.0. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm excited for the development of Ji'Ayir Campbell. I'm excited to see how they work things out when Nakobe Dean comes back. I think it's going to be the best defense in the NFL if they already aren't. And everybody should be absolutely excited for the dominance that is to come when Dean returns. Now, moving on to early look. We are going to give just an early look into the Eagles against the Chiefs. I think, quite frankly, the Eagles are going to be just fine against the Chiefs come Sunday. For starters, they played on Thursday night, which means they have extra rest, a week and a few days. They don't practice again until Wednesday. So that means half of their rest time is spent on watching film, fixing what they need to fix, filling the gaps, things like that. Fangio, he is going to fill those gaps. Currently, the Cowboys, offensively, I think are more dangerous than the Chiefs. I think if you watch the Chiefs games against the Chargers, I think the Cowboys looked way better offensively. Xavier Worthy, he probably is not going to be playing. I think he dislocated his shoulder in that Chiefs game, literally on the first drive. I don't think he's going to be playing. That leaves Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce as Mahomes' primary weapons. Two veterans, two old guys, you might say. Two old guys. Travis Kelce, though, he did look pretty well against the Chargers. But that does not compare to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Absolutely not. Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce does not compare to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. You can even talk about Pacheco as the running back, comparing to Javonte Williams. Pacheco's a more proven back, but what we've seen from Javonte Williams against the Eagles, you want to say he's better than Pacheco? Could be. Could very well be. If we want to go back to the defense a little bit, I think the defense is going to be more fixed than what they looked against the Cowboys. Fangio and the Eagles defense produced a second-half shutout without Jalen Carter and with Adoree Jackson. Now, we'll get to Jalen Carter in just a little bit, briefly, but you also don't have the fact of going into that game being like, are we going to have Jalen Carter or are we not going to have Jalen Carter? They fully expected to have Jalen Carter for that full game going into the Cowboys. And now, we'll get into it in a second, but we don't know. So you have that thought now where it's like you can prepare now to not have Jalen Carter. No preparation was done without Jalen Carter in that lineup for the Cowboys game. Now, like I said, after watching film, Fangio, he will have the gaps to improve. They already improved with the Zadarius Smith signing being out there. Go check out last episode. I talked about his impact, what he can be for this defense. To my guess, Adoree Jackson, on the other hand, will not be out there. I don't think so. You can't do it. There's no way you run it back with Jackson as cornerback 2. I don't see it. I think they give Bennett the go this Sunday. Unless they go and get somebody that they sign. But even if they go and sign somebody, he still has to learn the playbook. Bennett knows the playbook way more than a guy who's been there for a few days. Jalen Carter. I think the Eagles are going to have to be without Jalen Carter again on Sunday. I think so. And that goes back to my point of them preparing for the Chiefs, looking at the personnel and who they have. Against the Cowboys, like I said, they did not prepare to not have Jalen Carter on defense. Now, they can, this week, for the Chiefs, look at their personnel. They can prepare without having Jalen Carter. I am recording this on Monday. So by the time this gets released, we might have already learned about Jalen Carter's final discipline, the consequences that came with spitting on Dak Prescott. But it's looking like the NFL is going to suspend him for at least the Chiefs game. So, preparation. You prepare to not have Jalen Carter. I think that does a lot more for Vic Fangio. I think that does a lot more for the expectation against the Chiefs and for this defense. That is all we have for today. As always, stay up to tune with Eagles Latest on Fan Arch. And like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you guys next time.